Welcome back. And just to bring you up to speed now with our developing story, in South Africa's President Jacob Zuma has announced his resignation from office with immediate effect. Mr. Zuma's announcement was made in a televised nationwide address this evening. His governing ANC party had earlier asked him to step down or face a vote of no confidence in Parliament, again to say that the South African President Jacob Zuma has resigned. Let's take a look at some sports now. Here's Ayo Tunde Balogun.
For the first time in the history of the Nigerian Women's Football League, it will be introducing the Champions Shield that will precede every league season from this year. The chairperson of the NWFL, Aisha Falode, says the tournament, which will be sponsored by the Lagos State government, will see the NWFL champions battle the ITO Cup winners. It appears Dutch second division football club Fortuna Sittard have parted company with former Super Eagles coach Sunday Olise after they replaced him with Portuguese Claudio Braga. According to a club statement, Olise has been relegated to a non-active actions which have resulted in an unworkable relationship with both players and management. Olise had been under fire for some time after Fortuna lost 4 league games in a row, but the club insists their decision is unrelated to on-field performances. In a swift reaction, Olise has taken to social media to say he has been relieved of his duties owing to his refusal to participate in illegal activities. In the UEFA Champions League, Cristiano Ronaldo scored twice as Real Madrid came from behind to beat Paris Saint-Germain 3-1 in their first leg round of 16 clash in the UEFA Champions League, of course, at the Santiago Bernabeu. Adrien Rabiot, the Frenchman, gave the Parisians the lead on 33 minutes, but strikes from Ronaldo and Brazilian Marcelo ensured Real recovered to a fine win. Elsewhere, Sadio Mane scored a hat-trick in Liverpool's 5-0 thumping at FC Porto in Portugal. That's a wrap on sports news. The news at 10 continues shortly.
Thanks a lot, Ayo Tunde. South Africa's President Jacob Zuma has announced his resignation from office with immediate effect. Mr. Zuma's announcement was made in a televised nationwide address this evening. His governing ANC party had earlier asked him to step down or face a vote of no confidence in Parliament. Pressure has recently been mounted on the 75-year-old Zuma to resign in favour of his deputy, Cyril Ramaphosa, who succeeded him as the ANC's new leader. Mr. Zuma, who's been in power since 2009, is facing numerous allegations of corruption.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have therefore come to the decision to resign as President of the Republic with immediate effect.
Our South Africa Bureau Chief Betty Dibia joins us now. She's in Johannesburg. So, Betty, what happened? What changed? I mean, up until late, he was defiant. What do you think happened?
Well, apart from the fact that there was really nowhere left to run or hide for the former president, it's funny calling him that now. But I don't think he's unaware of the political impact his non-resignation would have on the party if what would have happened tomorrow afternoon, that's that vote of no confidence, had gone ahead. This was the neatest way for him to leave office for the party and probably for him in a way. Remember, he was dismissed by the former president Thabo Mbeki in that parliament, and now he's going to be he would have been asked to leave office in that same parliament. Nobody will want that record. But the impact, that vote of no confidence was called by the opposition party. And in the history of the politics of the country, knowing that the ruling party had to vote for a vote of no confidence against their own deployee to the presidency wouldn't have been good for the party. And it was all hunky-dory this morning, like a party, when the Chief Whips Forum had agreed, oh yes, and I heard one of the opposition party members saying the main objective is to get Zuma out of office. So at the end of the day, it would have still come back to bite the party. Remember, general elections will be next year, 2019, when Zuma would have handed over to probably Cyril Ramaphosa. So now this has been brought forward, and according to the program, Tomorrow, the Speaker of Parliament, because there can't be a vacuum, she'll be the president for some hours. But by Friday, the new president will be sworn into office, and probably the State of the Nation address, which was postponed, will take place.
All right, thanks a lot for that, Betty. Do keep your eye on it, and we expect to hear more coming out of South Africa. Thanks a lot, Betty, for that one. Now, the police in Parkland, Florida are responding to reports of an active shooter at a local high school and have warned residents to stay away from the area until it's secure. Earlier, the Broward Sheriff's Office said it was working on a developing incident at Stoneman Douglas High School, while warning that the shooter was still at large, urging people to avoid the area. Many victims are said to have sustained injuries and are being treated outside the school. Helicopter video showed armed police at the building's perimeter. Meanwhile, the Coral Springs Police Department has tweeted safety instructions to teachers and students to remain barricaded inside until the police reaches them. And the main news again. The Senate today adopted the Conference Committee's report setting a new sequence of the 2019 general elections amid vehement opposition from some lawmakers. Also today, the Upper Legislative Chamber issued a one-week ultimatum to federal ministries, departments and agencies to submit details of their 2018 budget proposals or face sanctions. And South Africa's President Jacob Zuma today resigned after a long-running feud with his ruling ANC party. That's the news at 10 tonight. Thanks so much for staying with us. I'm Ijoma Bunyato. Happy Valentine's Day, and you have a good night.